What's up, guys? Eric Prey, Focus Fishing Guide Service, Table Rock Fishing Intel. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Tuesday, November the 11th. Fished today and left the camera equipment at the house, so now we're shooting this in the office now that we got home because it's noisy out in the neighborhood, not in the garage. So I've been on the water pretty much every day through the holiday and everything else. I think I took one day off, but was pretty much on the water. Got the Oak Outdoors tournament this weekend. I'm going to be fishing, so trying to find some better fish. The bite's been good though. Been catching quite a few fish, quite a few keepers on every trip. As far as our lake level is concerned, we're at 914.74. The Corps running the heck out of it. I mean, they had 4 units. I think they had 3 units running for a while today. And looking at the forecast, looks like they're going to continue to run water throughout the week. Not exactly sure why. Normal pool is 915 as of tomorrow, so we're below normal winter pool. But they're going to continue to run water. Water temperature, we're still in the upper 50s, pretty much everywhere I've been. I was at the dam area today. We started off around 55. By the time we got off the water around 2 o'clock, it was 57. So water's definitely warming up or staying warm. It's cooling off a little bit, but you know, we've got these warm days. It was close to 70 today. It's supposed to be close to 70 the next couple of days. So I don't see the water temperature dropping much, but you know, the bite is pretty strong. At least, you know, the deep bite is. The shallow bite's been a struggle, but best way to stay on top of it, best way to know what's going on, join Table Rock Fishing Intel, become a pro member, get those daily reports, get those weekly reports, get all that information that we put out there every day, every week to give you more information to help you catch more fish when you go to the lake. But if you're coming down, say you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, best bite's going to be a deep bite on the lower end. I know if you guys are catching a few of them shallow, but the shallow bite's been a struggle. The water's really clear with the amount of water they're pulling. There's, you know, any rain that we've gotten, all that dirty water's been flushed out. So the water's extremely clear, and it seems like those shallow fish, you can catch a few early and a few late in the day. Like when I say late in the day, I mean like before sunset. But really throughout the middle part of the day, it is tough to catch them if you don't have wind and clouds. You got wind and clouds, it's a whole nother deal. You can catch them on a crankbait and a spinnerbait, jerkbait, all that stuff. But day in, day out right now, the deep bite has been best. Most of the fish I'm catching on 2 or 3 baits. I'm catching them on a Kitech 2.8 on a little bit heavier head, throwing it on either a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce head. And most of those fish, I'll see those fish on my live scope and I'm pitching the bait out to them and bringing it in front of them. And a lot of these fish are going to be 35 to 45 foot down. So you've got to not just get it over top of the fish, you got to get it past them because your bait's going to pendulum back. Catching them doing that. Catching them vertically as well with a drop shot rig, with a shad shape, and still some on a cut tail, and catching them on a jewel scuba spoon, and catching them on a Rapala jigging wrap. All those last 3 baits were fishing vertical, right over top of the trees. You got to find shad though. If you don't find shad, you know, some days with the amount of water they're running, the shad are moving quite a bit. Some days you'll find those shad back in the creeks if they've not been running a lot of water. Other days they're in the mouths of the creeks. This morning they were about halfway back to the mouth of the creek, whereas yesterday when I was out, most of the fish I caught were towards the back of the creek because they weren't running as much water. And then even on some other days, you'll find these fish out on the main lake. So you look for birds. That's your number one clue when you first start looking. If you see gulls and you see loons, you need to look around, see where the shad are that they're keying on, and then find the shad. We went into several creeks this morning, no shad, couldn't get bit. Go into a creek where we've got some shad, we caught fish. So look for shad. Go up in the mid-lake area, same sort of deals going on. And water is really clear. You can catch a few shallow. Windy, cloudy day, again, crankbait, spinnerbait, typical jerkbait even, that typical stuff is working. Catching a few around boat docks on a jig, got to hit the shade, and they're even a little bit deeper on the boat docks. Most of those fish have been in that 12 to 15 foot range. Best bite overall, all over the lake really, has been the deep bite. And again, the same baits. I'm using the Kitech and pitching it to fish on my live scope. I'm dropping the scuba spoon, I'm dropping a drop shot rig, and I'm dropping a Rapala jigging wrap. Those are my primary baits. That's where the numbers of fish are coming. Not necessarily the best quality, but you can certainly catch numbers of fish and numbers of keeper spots right now out there deep in those deeper trees. And when I say deep, anywhere from 25 is about the shallowest I've been catching them I had one yesterday, came out of 84 foot of water, or he was 84 feet deep, over 108 feet of water. So just where those fish are, there's no thermocline. Where the shad are, that's where the fish are going to be. That's what you got a key on right now. If there is a shallow bite at all on the lake, it's up the James. There are some decent fish being caught on a Jewel Pro spider jig around docks, and on a Jewel football jig out a little bit deeper. Normally, you know, we talk about the James, we're talking 10 to 12, 10 to 15 foot deep. Now those deeper football jig fish have been out even deeper. They've been in that 15 to 20, 25 foot range, even up there, because that water's gotten very clear, just like the rest of the lake. You can catch them deep up there if you want to fish deep. These fish are feeding on shad. Find the shad, drop those baits, throw that swim bait at them. Most of these fish, even up the James, you're talking 25 to 45, even 50 foot deep is where most of the fish are coming from on this deep bite. And it's the same deal. Swim bait, pitching it out there and bringing it back in, scuba spoon, drop shot rig, and the Rapala jigging wrap. White River is exactly the same as the mid-lake. It's about as clear as we normally have the lower end of the lake. It's crazy how clear the White River is. And it's the same deal. Windy, cloudy day, you can catch them shallow. Don't have wind, don't have clouds. It's been a struggle, and you got to go out and fish deep to catch these fish right now. And again, I'm using the same basically group of baits. Pitching that swim bait on a little bit heavier head, getting it down there about 25 to 35 where I see the fish on my live scope out in front of the boat. You got to get really good at putting that bait right in the cone of the live scope so you can see it and see how the fish reacts to it. Because a lot of times I'll be reeling it in, fish will swim up to it and he won't eat it. But if I kill it and let it fall a foot or two, he'll hammer it. So get good at hitting that cone on your live scope so you can see that bait all the way out 70, 80 feet out in front of the boat. Catching them doing that, catching them on the scuba spoon, catching them on a drop shot, catching them on a Rapala jigging wrap. All of those are, again, wherever the shad are. Caught them in the very backs of creeks last week. Caught them in the mouths of creeks. Caught them over top of trees. Caught them over bare gravel points. Most of the fish anywhere from 25 to 55 to 65 foot deep. Doesn't matter what the overall depth is. Just look for the shad. Wherever the shad are, that's where the fish are going to be. Even caught some on bluff ends and on long gravel points up the White last week. So if you got shad, you're going to have fish. The fish are really keyed in on the shad. They're following the shad all over the lake. Guys, we are last day of November, going into December. Fishing's good. I mean, I like to fish deep. It's not my favorite way to fish, but that's how I've been catching them. The deep bite has been really strong. It should continue to get strong throughout the rest of the month as the water cools down. Hopefully the coral stop playing games with the water and quit running. The worst part about this, they're not running continuous. They're running continuous generation, but they're fluctuating how much they generate. They're running one unit for a couple hours, then they'll kick it up to 2 for a couple hours, they'll kick it up to 3 for a couple hours, and drop it back down to 1. That makes it really hard for us to know where the shad are going to be. You got to search around a lot. It moves those shad, it moves that plankton quite a bit, that much current. It's even tougher on the guys fishing below the dam for trout because they love 1 to 2 units running. You kick that up to 3 and it knocks the moss loose and makes everything a mess. But hopefully now that we are below normal winter pool, they're going to slow this down and maybe get to a more continuous regular generation and maybe even shut it off for a little bit and let these shad set up so the bite gets really, really good. But best way to stay on top of all that, best way to know what's going on is join Table Rock Fishing Intel. Get those daily reports. I did one today. Brian Baddock from Baddock's Guide Service did one today. We had one yesterday. We've had a ton of reports over the last week, and there's a lot of information out there, a lot of information for you guys to get as a pro member so you know where the fish are, what your best bite is, what your best chance is before you go. But if you want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, and either shoot me an email or book online. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Again, check out Table Rock Fishing Intel. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.